Welcome back to Bumblebee. I'm your host, Kyle McWaters. You wanted more stuff that goes bump in the middle of the night? You got it, folks. Here's the top 10 haunting stories from history you won't believe are true, part 2. Number 10, the Lincoln Park Zoo. Right off the bat, not a big fan of zoos, not gonna lie. Lots of land where animals can roam free and safe, no problem. Kids banging on the glass? Yeah, that's a forced prison cell. The Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago, Illinois. Lions, tigers, and apparently well-dressed ghostly apparitions. The zoo was built over Chicago's oldest and largest cemeteries. Probably not a good idea right off the bat. It held the remains of thousands of people. Apparently like 12,000 remains are still under the zoo, which is apparently to blame for all the hauntings that take place there. Victorian-era clothing just seen wandering about the park. Opened in the 1860s, and since then, dapper-dressed visitors have been known to congregate there. Ghostly women can be spotted near the Lion House, near and in the ladies' room. Reflections of ghosts in the mirrors are notoriously reported. That's horrifying. Can you imagine? Ah! It's a handsome guy behind me there. Number 9, Altered Carbon. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to Hulk smash that button at the end, huh? Or leave us a comment on what haunting history you want to know more about. Speaking of history, NASA did their first twins study a couple of years ago, and the findings are different, to say the least. 7% of astronaut Scott Kelly's genetic makeup, expression, DNA, and genes did not return to baseline after his return to home. What? Yeah, his identical twin and fellow astronaut Mark Kelly remained on Earth was compared against his brother's genes. Kelly's newly genetic expression had in fact changed. Good news, he and Mark are still identical twins. Kinda. Kelly's transformation took a hold of at least 5 biological pathways and functions in his body. Chemical changes in his RNA and DNA were measured. 93% of Kelly's genes stayed the same, but some a little different. Thought to be caused by the stresses of space travel on the body, scientists are still scratching their heads at this one. I also find it super interesting that the name Scott Kelly just got handpicked for the UAP study team at NASA, huh? Interesting. Number 8, Old State. 5 miles south of Santa Fe, New Mexico lays a maximum security prison built in 1885. 3 infamous and bloody riots. 1922, 1953, and the worst of all, 1980. The 80s, that'll do it to you. Arguably the worst prison riot in American history. February 2nd, the inmates initiated a riot which led to the complete control over the prison for at least 2 days. Overcrowded, underfunded, and riddled with fresh-faced security. After escaping, the cellmates tortured 12 prison guards and murdered 33 fellow inmates. Trust me, medieval in nature. And cue paranormal sightings around cell block 4. The men in number 4 were apparently butchered and even hanged in the cell. This section of the prison was closed in 1998 and is now referred to as Old Main. Ghostly figures have been seen roaming the halls, slamming cell doors apparently. Yeah, see, this is why I don't even jaywalk, you know what I mean? I don't take the risk. Places like this, right here. Number 7, the Sea Witch. Planes, trains, and automobiles, and haunted boats, apparently. The USS Salem, a heavy World War II cruiser built in 1945, found herself steered towards a distress call from a disaster brewing. The USS Salem responded to the 1953 Ionian earthquake, aka the Great Kefalonia earthquake. The USS Salem landed on Greek shores and acted as an improvised hospital and morgue. The Sea Witch is what they called her. Paranormal activities that arise on this ship include more than 9 ghosts. The Burning Man, the Cook, the 2 little girls, the Salty Captain, and of course, the Hellhounds. Yeah, an aggressive pack of ghostly dogs growling, scratching, and sniffing at locked doors in the middle of the night. Hellhounds. Like, really? Number 6, the Lizzie Borden House. A quaint bed and breakfast located at one of America's most haunted houses. Complimentary coffee, breakfast, and banshees, apparently. The murders of Lizzie Borden in 1892. One of the most infamous crime figures known for murdering her parents with a hatchet. Well, they think. She was acquitted of the killings and the case remains unsolved to this day. The infamous and popular Boston children's rhyme is linked to this case. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw that she had done, she gave her father 41. That was like the worst accent I've ever done. That's horrible. Kids today. Although Lizzie Borden was acquitted and found not guilty, the dark history draws in crowds every night for its nightly ghost tours around the house. The infamous Lizzie Borden room is where apparently the murders took place. It's actually requested the most for paranormal overnighters. A little jingle and a continental breakfast, huh? Not the scariest on the list, but definitely the sickest. Just eating eggs Florentine where someone got axed? I don't know. Number 5, Keramikos. This Earth is a very old place, isn't it? Göbekli Tepe, Petra, like these places are old. But Greece? Greece is like ancient old. In 2020, a collection of more than 30 inscribed tablets were found at the bottom of a 3,000-year-old Athenian well in the ancient cemetery of Keramikos. Scary enough, right? You see, these tablets bear curses and prayers to the gods of the underworlds. Yeah. Back then, black magic and the use of curses was forbidden in Greece, which makes this even more jarring. Refound in 2016, the cemetery where the well lays was first excavated in 1870. During World War II, the excavation lost momentum and was partially ruined. The site consists of a massive sanctuary housing thousands of precious artifacts from thousands of years ago. Keramikos, from the Greek word for pottery and ceramics, arguably the most important cemetery of all ancient Athens. And of course, absolutely riddled with the oldest tombs and curses that went along with them. So much jealousy back then too, huh? Adonis is mine, Callisto and your high cheekbones. Number 4, the Double Eagle. In Mesilla, New Mexico, they're grilling up more than just steaks. The Double Eagle restaurant is a must-stop for paranormies. Property's first owners, the Mays family. A grisly history with this one. Mom, aka Sonora Mays, expected only the best for her son Armando, and I don't think she saw that in her son's lover's eyes. 2 forbidden star-crossed lovers and a pair of sewing scissors. Uh-oh. Double hamburgers and double homicides, apparently. The Double Eagle restaurant is home to a murder most foul. When Sonora Mays discovered the relationship between her son and the lover of a lower class, she demanded that it end immediately. Mom came home unexpectedly, interrupting the lovers mid-swoon. She grabbed her sewing shears and attacked Enos, killing her. However, mid-stab, Armando threw his body in front and was stabbed too. Yeah, that's some Romeo and Juliet shit right there. Overnighters report ghostly figures and the feeling of heartache, for never was a story of more woe than this of Enos and her Armando. Number 3, the Bed of Ware. Apparently there's a bed that makes you more woozy and sick than that of a drunken night on a waterbed. Yeah, I know. I've been there, I had one. See, this bed, the Great Bed of Ware, doesn't really like people sleeping on it. The hardwood oak is richly decorated and carved with symbols and hieroglyphics you could stare at all day. A true California king. Built in the 15th century for King Edward IV, it was defaced and graffitied so hard over the years that it's absolutely riddled head to toe in curses. You're not of royal blood? Don't even think about napping near this thing. People who have spent the night apparently are violently awoken by visitors watching them sleep. You were there and you were there? There are so many initials and images carved into the wood that it's hard to know who actually the bed was made for, generation after generation. The bed lays in the British galleries of the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. We need the Long Island medium to take a nap in there. See what she sees, you know? Number 2, ballista balls. More than 2,000 stones were found during an archaeological excavation in an ancient city between Syria and Israel where the Golan Heights sit, home to the most amount of ancient ballista stones from the early Roman period. Ballista balls are basically sanded stones, small and smooth, designed for an ancient slingshot catapult thing. Like a snowball to the head, but a rock. Very deadly. In 2020, ballista balls in Israel were returned to the authorities apparently 15 years after they were stolen from the site. Returned by an anonymous person from the Jerusalem Walls National Park in the city of David, the man returned the 2,000-year-old ballista balls and wrote a little note. Yeah. Quote, "These are 2 Roman ballista balls from Gamla. I stole them in 1995. Since then, they've brought me nothing but trouble. Please do not steal antiques." End quote. Thank you, random guy with bad luck and curses. Yeah, don't steal, that's bad. It's against the law. There's ancient curses still out there too. There's lots we don't know here still. And number 1, the Bridgewater Triangle. Just south of Boston is one of the most bizarre and haunted places on this planet. 200 miles of connected events. The Bridgewater Triangle. It's named from the triangle shape geographically mapped in which paranormal phenomenon occurs. Like a little fenced off area of scary stuff. Everything from orbs, UFOs, Bigfoots, fairies, skinwalkers, beastly hybrids, you name it, it's there. The towns that are included in this so-called paranormal vortex are Raynham, Brockton, Norton, Taunton, and of course the lovely Bridgewater. All subject to the universal head scratcher. In the 1970s, there was a huge surge of UFO witnesses, and at the same time, Bigfoot witnesses, and of course at the same time, ghost witnesses. Yeah, night after night. Huge humanoid creatures, motherships, whatever it is or was, the Bridgewater Triangle is home to a plethora of spooky. So Halloween Town. Halloween Town. We should rename it to Halloween Town. Hey, we hope you enjoyed that video. I've been your host, Kyle McWaters. We'll see you next time on Bumblebee.